Welcome to another episode of the Franchise Maven podcast, where I help ambitious entrepreneurs and investors find a thriving franchise fit or flip their business into one. And I also bring you many special guests, especially special guests from the franchising world themselves. We have with us today Roger Martin, who is the CEO and co-founder of both RockBox Fitness and Beam Light Sauna. A couple really great franchise opportunities there. He has built a 30-year career in sales, marketing, and C-level leadership, and co-founder and CEO of both those national franchises, as well as various other businesses. Roger, thank you very much for being with us today.
You bet. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, Greg.
Yeah, it's great to have folks on that are in the franchising world and with franchises themselves, so we can hear from the people themselves who started the franchises and why. So
Yeah.
let's start with that. Let's go back to the beginning. What got you into the franchising world? Got you started in the businesses, and what was the inspiration?
Yeah, I spent 25 years in corporate America. So I'm a corporate refugee. I grew my life, my business life, starting at 22 in the pharmaceutical business. So I started as a sales rep, ended up moving my family. I think we moved 8 times in whatever chunk of period of time that those 8 moves happened. I'm now settled in Charlotte, North Carolina, but yeah, I started as a sales rep, ended as a chief operating officer. So I was in the C-suite when I left. Worked for large publicly traded companies, smaller publicly traded companies, then private, and then eventually got to a point where I was working for private equity. Had a successful transaction with one of those private equity firms, went to go help another company with just a network that I had, and then decided, I don't want to do this anymore. I just don't want to do corporate America anymore. And I have nothing against corporate America because they really taught me the leadership skills, persuasion skills, the problem solving skills, a lot of things that as an entrepreneur you have to learn on your own time. And so I was able to learn on someone else's dime, if you will, but also contribute, what I hope to be a 10x return on their investment in me. And come 2016, 17, I just had this epiphany that I needed to make a change. And so I had recently met a gentleman who owned 2 boxing for fitness group fitness studios. So again, that means that nobody gets punched in the face or the nose. We only bust calories, not noses. And but it's a great workout. It's boxing, kickboxing, functional strength training, and he had built this concept. It was called something else, and it looked a little different. But I definitely saw the potential for this to be, a real national player. And if I was going to get into it, I wanted to do it on a larger scale. And so we ended up renaming the company, renaming the brand, expanding the brand, what it does, how the look, the feel. First 2 hires were marketing consultants, but I created a partnership with this guy, 50-50. He brought his intellectual capital and his hard work. I brought my financial capital and my hard work, and we put those together and founded RockBox in early 2017. Started a franchise. I opened up a studio in 2017 because I always want to run I own a Beam as well. I've owned 2 RockBoxes and I own a Beam Light Sauna currently because I want to run these businesses to understand where the pain points are so that we can fix them for our franchisees. Too often, you'll find people in the C-suites in a franchise, not all the time, but more often than I care to admit, that have not really run one of their own businesses that they're selling. They were brought in by private equity, or they were brought in by somebody to run the business. And then that makes sense, that running a business from 100 units to 500 units is a different leadership skill than maybe getting it to 100 units. But I always wanted to be able to say, yes, Mr. or Mrs. Franchisee, I've done everything you've done. I've scrubbed the floors. I've done this. I've hung that. I've, reset that sauna. I've taught RockBox classes. So I want to make sure that I've done all that so that I could, one, you make money from these franchises, but also I could find the pain points. And Gregory, the cool thing is I can say, yeah, this was an issue and we fixed it. Or if a franchisee comes and says, hey, how come we don't try this? I can say, that's a great question. We actually did in 2019. I piloted it. It didn't work. I want to save you the money. I want to save you the money. So I started RockBox in 2017. We've built that to over 50 some locations nationwide. Beam has taken off like a rocket ship. We started that brand in 2021. We are now at 35, 38 open locations. Next year will be well over 100, and we've only been franchising for 2 years, so 2.5 years.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really taken off, and that brand is doing everything we'd hoped it to do. So yeah, my experience in a nutshell came from being in corporate America, building, these C-level executive skill sets that are needed to run those size divisions, but then applying those to my own businesses and applying those to the franchise concept, both as a franchisor, but also, I've been a franchisee in both systems and currently am still in one, so that I can really relate and understand to, the franchisee and understand what needs to be done, what needs to be improved. And it's been a pretty good approach to working out the kinks in the business faster.
So do you go in and work out at RockBox Fitness, and then after you're done there, go into Beam Light Sauna?
Exactly. That's the key. We have, and they're looking to where, rock boxes will be almost co-located. They're different ownerships. We don't have any owners yet that they're interested, but they don't yet have two open studios. But yeah, it's our two brands are complementary, not competitive at all. You could own both the brands. You could own them next door in the same strip center and do very, very well. Yeah.
What do you look for, and who do you look for in potential franchisees?
Mm. So, I wish there were a magic answer, and I know you wish there were a magic answer to that too in your business, Gregory. And I can tell you that I at first in my mind, I had this picture of what a very successful franchisee would have as far as a background.
Mhm.
And that didn't always prove to be true, especially if they were coming from corporate America. But what we're looking for now, what I've seen to prove out to be a successful franchisee, a successful business owner, not just a franchisee, but a business owner, somebody who takes control of their business,
Mhm.
is going to be somebody who's had leadership skills and leadership experience. So, and I don't put a lot of weight in just experience, because you could do the same thing 10 years in a row and call that 10 years of experience. I call that 1 year of experience that you repeated 10 years in a row, right? Like there's a difference,
True.
were you growing? Were you getting more responsibility in that
Right.
position? But I found that people that have only been individual contributors, they can sometimes struggle with leadership, especially with how to hire effectively. Honestly, a lot of times, and how to terminate quickly, with empathy, but let's make that decision sooner rather than later. So I found that people that have had leadership experience have been through some of those trials and tribulations before, and I've also found that people who have had to persuade or influence, and that doesn't mean they had to be in a direct sales position. Even in a leadership position, you're persuading and influencing your team to do the right thing and produce at a high level. But I found that, really innovative problem solving, where you don't freak out when something goes wrong, because it's not if, it's when. Persuasion, influence, and that leadership ability, those, regardless of your background, if you have those traits, um, you have a lot higher chance of success.
Now, do you want your franchisees to be in this basically full time, not having a side job, or are
Mm.
you okay with like what they call semi-absentee owners?
Yep, yeah. We love to call that the executive model, right? Where
Mhm.
you're an executive probably in another full-time position, but you have a full-time general manager working in the store for you. That's what I have. I'm not in the store all the time. I'm actually not in the store a lot, but my GM's fantastic, and she does all of the hiring, firing, ordering, performance management, all, the sales and the sales training. I'm involved in. I think I run payroll twice a week, and I'm involved in the strategy of the business aspect of that, and will give her lots of feedback. I'm usually on the phone with her a couple times a day, quite frankly. But it's more, me talking or video chat or whatever it may be, helping her with things, because it's not, I don't, that semi-absentee language sometimes I think can lend people, it can lend itself to people thinking, well, I only have to be there when I want to be there. And so that's why I kind of push back on semi-absentee and call it executive model. I don't know if that's any better, but Gregory, as you know, the business is going to tell you exactly when it needs you to be there, and you don't have a choice. And so that's why I'm very open and honest with our franchisees for both Rockbox and also Beam Light Sauna, that the business will tell you when it needs you and you have to be available. And that may be on a weekend or maybe an evening when you already had plans. That's being a business owner. That's being somebody who is in charge of their own destiny, which means they're responsible for their own destiny, which means you have to do some things you may not want to do when you don't want to do them. But the better your GM, the better you train, the better you invest in your team, the more that you incentivize your team and align your incentives for the behavior you're looking for, then the less that business is going to need you when you don't want it to. But there will always be those times, and so you'll find me to be, I hope find me to be one of the most transparent and straightforward franchisors, because we tell people this is going to be harder than you think it's going to be. It's I don't want to say it's hard, because hard means it's going to be hard forever. It's just harder than you think it's going to be, especially in the beginning when you're getting it all figured out. Once you, like anything, you come up the learning curve. If you'll put in the effort, you'll do well.
Great point, Roger. Yeah, you got to put in the effort, and you got to know what the executive model or semi-absentee means to begin with, and make certain that you're okay with that time, and you're flexible time. Do you
Yep.
do you find that the people that are going to go into this full time, but still, not being in the store all the time, as opposed to your executive model, do you look for anything different between those two?
No, if somebody wants to be in the business full time, I still think you need to have innovative problem solving, be able to persuade and influence both your team and your prospects, and need to be a leader. But when you're in the store all the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, you're going to be able to see issues probably sooner
Right.
than maybe if you had a GM, and be able to address those. So I probably wouldn't have as high of expectation if somebody's going to be in there, because I know they're just going to come up the learning curve faster, right? They will literally
Right.
come up the learning curve faster. So still high expectations and high requirements, but knowing if they're going to be in there a lot more often, probably a little bit more leeway.
Gotcha. Now you have got a great background in marketing. So how has all that background in marketing and advertising helped you build those two great franchises?
Yeah. It's as much as we think everybody knows who we are, unless you're Apple or IBM or Ford Motor Company, you have to advertise. You have to be out there. You have to constantly be making noise in the marketplace. And so I did bring a background of marketing and sales, and I've applied that directly to both franchises, where they're both promotionally sensitive businesses. Some businesses, like I probably won't be able to think of one right now, but some businesses just aren't, well, like home service. Home service isn't as promotionally sensitive. Now, some of the things like maybe window cleaning or some service that is not in an acute manner, like my crawl space is flooded, I need help right now, right? Like that's not a really promotionally sensitive business. Yeah, well, you want to make sure you have SEO and some things, but it's not like, hey, call us and we'll come out and we'll clean your windows, give you a quote and all that. That's going to be a little bit more promotionally sensitive. Well, these businesses, these two brick and mortar businesses, RockBox Fitness and Beam Light Sauna, are both promotionally sensitive, meaning the more we advertise, the more prospects we get, the more members we can sign up. And so I've taken that expertise that I had in corporate America, gone beyond what I had in corporate America, invested a lot in my own self-learning and my team's learning. And we've built a digital marketing agency within our business,
Oh,
so that the franchisees don't have to go outside to find somebody to run their Facebook and Instagram ads and Google ads. We can handle all that for them internally, and at a much, much lower monthly fee than what they would pay going to an outside agency. One, that helps control the destiny of our business, but it also gives the franchisees a service that's specialized in just what they do, just boxing for fitness, group fitness classes, or just recovery through light therapy. Because we have two different agencies, one for each of the businesses, that they can do that in a specialized manner.
well, that's awesome. You've got your own digital company for each one that does just the marketing, just the advertising for just those two.
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yep.
Now, as far as generating customers for these folks, in addition to that, do you have anything else where you help people go out there and bring in those customers?
Yeah, so we have a very extensive online learning management system that they do before they open, and that their team goes through and does and takes the quizzes and all, watches the videos and SOPs. And some of that is going to be around traditional marketing. We call it B2B marketing, but that's where if you owned a local sandwich shop, we're going to come in and talk with you, the general manager or the owner of that sandwich shop, about how our customers prefer to eat healthy. Our members, we're going to have 300 members. Would you like them in a big prospect list? Would you like to be able to offer them, some kind of discount to drive traffic into your sandwich shop? Great, cool. Hey, would you mind if we put some literature here and maybe you gave a coupon with everyone, a free class, flyer or something with every sandwich you give out. So, I mean, that's just one of the examples, but we show people how to do that, how to actually what to say when they go in, and it's always offering value first, not, hey, can I put up flyers in your thing? Because, nobody wants you to do that. So first you have to, so to answer your questions, yeah, we show people we help them get clients online. We show them how to do referral program inside the studio, how to get referrals. We show them how to go out and do traditional marketing, business to business marketing to generate even more. And then we've shown we have ways to, how they can get on local television, how they can get on local radio, and we help them in ways that again, as much effort as they want to put into it, we can show them how they can get an unlimited amount of leads.
That is the way to go when you're first starting out like that. Do everything you can to do that. A lot of people are kind of balk sometimes that they have a marketing fee or an advertisement fee. It's like, well, I'm looking at those marketing and advertisement fees that they're charging you, and I can tell you from my business, I pay a whole lot more than that.
Exactly.
Especially if I want
Yeah.
to keep busy. If I don't want to keep busy, I don't
Yeah,
pay that much, but
you got it.
it just depends on that. So clients, you've got all the different systems to do that. How about employees? Is it up to the franchisee to find their own employees? How does that work?
Yeah, so and they have to because of co-employment laws. So we have to ensure that they're doing their own hiring and firing. But what we do have is we have very detailed job descriptions for each role. And there are only so many roles in each of these two very simple businesses. They're very streamlined businesses. And then we have job postings, which are written in a little sexier way, and they're written in a way that, are more alluring than just a job description. And then we even have interview guides. So again, we're not going to make an interviewing decision for you, but we have interview guides for each of the specific roles that help them steer that interview, help them score that interview, and do it in an objective manner. And then we even have training on competency selection interviewing that allows for franchisees of either of our brands to understand interviewing is not about a gut feeling. It's not about a gorgeous resume. It's much more about asking very specific questions of past examples where you've shown the behavior, and then can you demonstrate how you've already done what we're looking for you to do. So it's a different way of interviewing, but it really has helped. Even people that came from very big companies are like, I don't know why we weren't doing this, but it's definitely more effective.
No gut feeling. I can't just look at somebody and say, "Hey,
Exactly.
let's take that
Yeah,
one."
they don't have it, but I know I'm going to put in what God left out. You can't do that. You can't put in what God left out.
That's true. Okay, so we know who you want. We know how you're going to get them customers, how you're going to help them get employees. So the other thing they need to know is where do they find the real estate and the lease negotiations and all that, and where do
Yep.
you come in on that?
Yeah. So great question, Greg. Where you found the two biggest um, pain points for a new franchisee was the build out, the construction, the lease, all that, the real estate, let's call it, and then pre-launch. Because these are membership based models, we like to help our franchisees build a membership base of 150, 200 members before they ever open their door. Like before they've ever opened the door, they have income, they've got cash flow. And so for the first one, real estate, and so what we found is after they did the real estate and the build out and managed their general contractor and all that, and they did all of their own pre-launch, which is just thousands of phone calls to all these prospects, and you have to reach out many, many times to get a hold of them, and then to sell them a membership. What we found is they would get to the starting line, but it would feel like the finish line. I got my store open, and I got 200 members. Okay, that's a good start. Now it's day one. And we found that it was a lot of effort, and so we've hired a third party construction management team We have two national partners for real estate that help the franchisee, and at no cost to the franchisee, find the best location. And they don't have to be an expert at real estate. The two national firms are only tenant representatives, meaning they don't represent a landlord in any case. It's always the tenant being our franchisee. They help them find the right space, and then the construction management team helps them find three bids, three GC bids. They manage the entire process, the permitting, the architecture, the build out, the certificate of occupancy, and then they hand the keys to the franchisee at the end. And then to solve the pre-launch problem, we've started a company that is an adjacent company that's voluntary. You don't it's not mandatory, but it's if you want to, you can hire this other company to do your pre-sales for you. So we run all of the ads, generate the leads, call all the prospects many times, text them, everything you can imagine, and get them on the phone and sell them a membership that's on a recurring basis. And so the franchisee can literally focus on building their team, hiring the right people, and then going out and getting to know the local community, doing the business to business and generating those type of leads, doing, tabletop displays and things at 5K races or whatever to get more leads, so that they have a team, they have local awareness. We have a construction management team that's getting them through all that build out. And we've already found the real estate with another team. And then, if they want to, they can have us do their pre-launch. So their first day, they're opening with 200 members, give or take. And they also have, a full team. They've got recurring revenue. They didn't lose their mind trying to build their site because they had a construction management firm that's that's really good at that. And so what we've tried to do is eliminate the pain. Like, where is the pain in the business? Well, it's finding a GC and it's managing a GC to stay on track and getting permits and architecture. Well, what if we just took care of that with an outsourced team that helped the franchisees? Great. Well, what about pre-launch? Well, that's a bear. Well, what if we, for a fee, did that for them, and then they could focus on their team? There'd be a one-time cost to get their business off the ground. Most of them taking advantage of that. So we've tried to make this as easy as possible.
There's a lot of moving parts in there, Roger, and you've got the digital marketing team takes care of that. The pre-launch team, which is what I was going to ask you about anyway, since you're a membership model, who does that? You've got a team that are going to do that for them. So what else does the franchisee at that point need to do? Once they've got everything up and running, you've gotten the digital marketing for them, you've got the pre-launch going, they got the people coming in, you want them out and about in that community. What do you want them doing out there?
Yeah, and that would be getting to know the other similar complementary businesses, and being part of their community so that the name is out there more. And then they need to be in their studio. So I'm managing their team, making sure that they're just showing unreasonable hospitality to every single member, and that they're delivering a customer experience that is above and beyond, so that you don't have to worry about competition. Because if you walk in and people know and they say Gregory before you even walk across the threshold, and they know who you are and what you're doing, and you're gonna feel like you're in relationship, not membership, but in relationship with that store. And so that's at that point, we get them open, we get them built, we get them loaded up with members. They have to take the business over at that point and start running it. Although right now, I just got off a call before this one about AI, a conversational AI lead nurture, where it's working. We're working with teams now, outside firms, to vet this and pilot it to where when the lead comes in, AI by SMS takes over and starts having a conversation with the prospect immediately, which is going to be, again, help move more prospects through the front door. So we're trying to get this at every single step, make this, again, as rewarding for the franchisee and as lucrative for them also.
So Roger, you think AI can do a lot to help out?
I think for lead nurture, for sure. The customer experience, not so much, not as much. It will, but you got to come in and you're going to take a fitness class at RockBox, so you're going to have to work hard, right? AI is not going to do that for you, but you're going to feel like $1 million after your workout. And then if you go into beam, you're going to feel great after that sauna. So the AI won't help you there, but it's in the real customer relationship management. It's in making sure that if there's tendencies or you see a trend of somebody not showing up, that's a leading indicator they could cancel. And so AI will help us with that for sure.
That makes sense. But what you said before about you as the owner being in that store every once in a while or in that location every once in a while, I know when I see the owners in places where I go, and I know them by name, or and especially if they know me by name,
Yeah.
I just feel an obligation to go back. And if there's great service and great everything else, and not even obligation, I just feel good about it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned before kind of where you're going numbers wise as far as number of units with these. So where are you going in the future with both RockBox and Beam Light Sauna?
Yeah. Yeah. So Rockbox, we have over 50. I have gotten more, I guess I've slowed down on the growth pattern with Rockbox and really turned a lot of our focus inward to really help our current franchisees. I ended up buying out two partners I had in that business, and so now I own Rockbox outright. And because of that, I can go a little slower. I don't have outside investors. I don't have a PE firm breathing on my neck. It's just me and my money. So I can go a little bit slower because I do believe that sometimes you need to slow down to speed up. And the brand is now 7 years old, and so there's some great things we can do to introduce some new technology, introduce some new marketing messages. Especially now, you've got other things that are getting attention, like the GLP-1s, Ozempic, and some of these other things. And so for weight loss, we want to have that full conversation with our prospects that you can take medicine, but you're going to have to take it for life. And here's what you're also going to sacrifice if you do that. So you still need weight-bearing exercise. Even the pharmaceutical companies will tell you that. So we're really spending money and time and effort on our revised marketing messages around that. And so I see that brand continually climbing, to 100 units or more. And then Beam, much faster growth rate just because we used franchise consultants at a high pace, and that brand should have 100 units by the end of next year open. And then, usually it'll double again, in the year to year and a half after that. So probably 200 very shortly after that.
I like that, Roger. So especially about what you're saying about the RockBox, you're not just about working out. You're talking about healthy bodies all the way around. So do you go a little bit further than just here's your boxing exercise, see you tomorrow?
Yeah, 100%. So we take them through an entire class. It's a 50-minute class, 5-0. They're in and out within an hour. They do kickboxing, boxing, where they're throwing the combos on the different bags. And then they're told what combos to throw by the instructor. Then they do functional strength training. So the push-pull exercises that help them add lean muscle for any of the calories. They burn calories boxing, add lean muscle then. And then we also sit down with them and have, when they first start, the first 10 days, a nutrition orientation where we give them a meal plan, meal prep guide, a dining out guide, a grocery list, everything you can imagine. And then we also help them with their supplementation if they need more protein, or if they need, if they're getting sore after their workouts, they can take natural stuff that will help them. And then we have an accountability side of it too, where Gregor, we'll call people. If we haven't seen them in 10 days, we'll call them and say, hey, everything okay? You've been traveling with business, can we get you back in here? Because we want to show people that we don't just, the only time you normally get called by your gym is when your credit card has expired and they need a new credit card, right? That's when you get called. So we just call for the heck of it, and we'll write handwritten notes like, hey, great job on that class the other day when you did a 24-inch box jump. We're all proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself, because people just don't do that a lot anymore. And so when we show this unreasonable hospitality, it really helps people understand that we're in this for just more than the membership. Like, we want to help change their life.
A little more personalized.
Yeah,
I, uh,
100%.
I like that. That's good.
100%.
So we know who you're looking for. We know that you got three different businesses for those two businesses to help them grow, to help them do the uh, uh, bringing people first in when it opens up,
Yep.
real estate team, the general contractors, how to do all that. What have I not asked that I should have asked so far?
Hmm. Um, I think people ask, I get asked this a lot, like during some of the CEO one-on-one calls I do with franchise prospects before they become, and I think a lot of newer business owners or first-time business owners, franchisees, will ask kind of a similar question. What about competition?
Mm.
And what about the economy?
Oh,
Like how can we be so sure of the economy, And I would, for any listeners that you have that are listening to this that are wondering about starting a business or becoming a franchisee, one, you cannot worry about competition. The more you focus on the competition, the more they win. You need to focus on your customers, on acquiring new customers profitably, and extending the length of stay, which is the lifetime value of your current customers, and you'll be just fine. But I think competition, we're taught in school and we're taught in life that, you got to watch out for the competition. I don't even think about I never think about the competition. I think, how can I get more members? How can I help my members stay longer? How can I get them to spend more money? That's what I focus on. I'll let my competition focus on me. I'll focus on my customers. So one, I get that question a lot, and my answer would be, you can't worry about it, and it doesn't matter in the end. And two, the economy, nobody knows. Nobody has the answer. No matter who, where they're getting their information or whatever, nobody knows. But you're betting on yourself. You're not betting on the economy. You're not betting on this presidency or that presidency. You're betting on yourself. Regardless of the economy, will you bet on yourself to win? And that's a bet I made of myself 7, 8 years ago when I walked away from a multi six-figure salary and stock options and all the benefits and all that, because I just knew I'd rather put my own fate and destiny in my own hands, as scary as that can be sometimes, because when I'm on my deathbed, I'll say, like, I did the right thing and I went for it. I went for it. And so I think people use the economy, they use, it's a competitive market, all that, as an excuse not to take action. And let's just be honest, like, either just say, this isn't, I don't have the risk tolerance, and that's okay. Or I'm going for it. I'm going to bet on me. I'm going to bet on me. And it'd be great if people could come to that realization. I think they'd be happier too if they didn't keep thinking, well, if it weren't for this or that, I would start that I would become a franchisee or go into business. Hey, maybe it doesn't matter. It's just not for you. That's fine. But if you're on the fence and you're worried about competition or the economy, this may not be for you, because there's always going to be competition and the economy is always going to be doing its own thing. You got to bet on you. And if you're willing to make that bet, find the right franchise opportunity, find the right brand, and go for it.
great point, Roger. Invest in yourself. Bet on yourself. You invest in all sorts of other things. Why not once in a while? Invest in you. See where it goes.
Yep.
That's it.
Amen.
Roger, where can they find you if they want some more information?
Sure. So they can go to Thrive More Brands, the word Thrive More Brands.com.
Mhm.
And what you're going to see on there is, you'll see our two brands, Beam Light Sauna and RockBox Fitness. If you'd like to find out more information about either of those brands, I've got a podcast and a book, and that stuff's on there as well too, if people wanted to listen to that podcast, which is all about business, health, and wealth. And then a book that's an insider's guide to business, and all those proceeds go to a local charity, not a local charity, a national charity. Every single cent on that book I've ever made has gone to that charity. So if they want any information on me, to contact me, get a hold of me, look at the brands, just go to thrivemorebrands.com. It's our platform. Yeah.
Perfect, Roger. ThriveMoreBrands.com. That will be in the show notes. Share this with anybody who's even considering looking for a franchise or wants to look into it. Franchising is a good option. It's good to have options on there. Check it out. Whether it's for you or not, who knows? You won't know until you at least take the opportunity to go through there and check it out. So share this with others. Click on like. If you have any questions about Roger and don't want to contact him, you can contact me, but I would suggest you go to thrivemorebrands.com and check them out, see what they're all about. Roger, thank you very much for being here today.
My pleasure. Thanks, Gregory.